And a bright good morning to everybody. It is morning time here in Arizona, 7:18 in the morning. I'm getting an early start because I hurt. Took a shower yesterday, did my shaving and stuff. My shoulder went out. I got a couple discs in my neck, back. Just a typical shitty day for me. So, today I'm going over Senator Cory Booker, Democrat from New Jersey. He's pushing a bill through Congress called the Marijuana Justice Act, which would effectively stop the federal prohibition, and it would repeal people's sentences. People that have been unfairly tried and jailed for marijuana offenses, small time, big time dealers, yeah, they were doing bad. But small time possession, people are doing 2 to 5 years for small time possession. And most of it is driven by the correctional corporations of America, the pharmaceutical industry, and the cancer industry, as well as lumber, plastics, paper manufacturers, all those. Everybody is just... And this bill would effectively, like I said, they'd go back and they'd retry people, and small-time offenses of possession and stuff, let them free. Because all they were doing was trying to... Okay, let's put it this way. The Controlled Substances Act of 1970 that replaced the Marijuana Tax Stamp Act of 1937. Okay, when Timothy Leary in 1969 got SCOTUS to overturn the Marijuana Tax Stamp Act, well, the feds, DEA, FDA, whoever, put together the Controlled Substances Act. And that's where we've been today, with marijuana classified as a Schedule 1. Alcohol and cigarettes used to be on the Controlled Substances Act. Okay? But what can you buy at every corner, almost every corner convenience store? Some convenience stores, well, most convenience stores all carry beer. And they all carry cigarettes, because that's what people want. Okay? It's wrong. And I'm thinking of putting together a petition to send to Senator Booker so that he can see a good number of people that I know and that, my viewing audience. Will you sign the petition? I'd like some feedback. Let me know if you'd want to sign a petition to help the Marijuana Justice Act pass through the House and Senate and Oval Office. Remember, Trump has veto power. But, like I said, tobacco and alcohol have already been removed from the Controlled Substances Act. Okay? Now, cigarettes are not as dangerous. You want to go in, Pena? Hold on. Go in. Get in there. No? Well, quit sitting there like you want to. What a dumb dog. She stands there like she wants to go in, and then she goes over there when I open the door. Anyway, how many people would want to sign this petition? I'd love to know. I've had a few people ask me about the shoes that I just got, called Furoshiki. 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 Now, these shoes came from Japan. Check these out. These are very thin-soled. The sole's like just that thick. It's almost like walking barefoot. And it's got Vibram rubber on the soles. In fact, it says right there. That's what that says, Vibram rubber. And check this out. I can get it to where you can see it. Ta-da! That's all these shoes are. I did a still photo. Somebody said, I thought that was a thong. But this is silky. It feels really silky, and it's stretchy fabric, and it breathed. And there's little Velcro closures over here. So it's like, one size fits many ranges of sizes. And we both got a pair. Debbie got a pair, I got a pair. And they're really great. The rubber, like I said, the rubber goes all over the top of it too. So these are good for me to work out in for my martial arts. They're almost like Japanese tabi ninja shoes. Anyway, I've got 6-7 websites all dealing with the Marijuana Justice Act. And I'm basically winging it today. But I really want to know people's opinions. Would you want to sign a petition saying, helping Senator Booker to push this through Congress? I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks. Is it Tuesday the 1st? What do we know? Yeah, this is the 3rd week. He introduced the bill on August 1st. And I keep going current status, and it's still just everything's back from the 1st and the 4th of August. So I'm going to go inside, and I'll start going off the phone, and I'll come up with things as I move along. That's how I do these unscripted videos. Take something off the internet, discuss it, read it, put in my opinion, ask everybody what they think their opinions are, and I really want support. I want people to help me support Senator Booker. So if I can get a sign and share done, I will do it. But I'd like to know how many people will sign it. I don't want to just put it out there if it's going to get 5 or 6 signatures. I want to see unanimous support. I want to see everybody in my groups voting or signing the petition so that we can say 100% of my people, 100% of my friends from my groups stand for this bill. Okay? There's just a few hundred of us. But if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, I mean, if you sign and share the petition, you can get hundreds more signatures just from people you know, instead of just people I know. So, let's try to do that. Let's try to support Senator Booker with this bill. Now I'm going to go inside and talk about it, and talk about things like the alcohol and tobacco. Those, cigarettes have not been linked to lung cancer. It's proven scientific facts. More people die from lung cancer that have never smoked anything in their life. Never smoked a joint, never smoked a cigarette. They still get lung cancer. Why? We're breathing smog and pollutants. Just take a drive away from any major city and then look at the city, and you'll see these inversion layers of smog that's being held down on top of the cities. And it's all from car exhaust. Car exhaust and electrical plants that burn oil for electricity. Things like that. It just contributes to smog and pollution, and it's not right. So, as far as smoking weed, it's safer than alcohol. It does not lead to domestic violence. Well, let me go inside and get this taken care of. Almost ready here. See you in a second. And we're back. This is called a straight pipe. You put it inside and you just push it and twist it like this, and you'll fills it right up. And you don't have stuff falling all over the place. I'm smoking a mix of Chronic Thunder and iced grapefruit. These things are awesome. Is it iced grapefruit? Or is it something else? No, pineapple chunk. This pineapple chunk is still sticky. I told you in my last video that the bud just stuck to my finger. It's already making me cough. Time to go to the vape. So, this is Fortune magazine. Fortune magazine from August 4th. It says, "Forget Obamacare. Congress should repeal and replace this instead." So, on Tuesday, the 1st of August, Democrat New Jersey's Cory Booker introduced this bold measure to repeal the federal ban on marijuana and leave governance of the drug. It's not a drug, it's a medicine. But governance of the medicine in the hands of the states. It's already there. We have the 10th Amendment. Over and over and over again. The 10th Amendment is what has helped 29 states legalize. This will tell all the other states that it is now good. It is now a good thing to initiate medical cannabis programs. And hopefully we'll start to get cannabis instead of marijuana. Like I said, that's a word that's been steeped in bigotry and racism. But the Marijuana Justice Act declares that the Federal Controlled Substances Act, the comprehensive federal statute that governs almost every other psychoactive substance, would no longer apply to marijuana. And it says Congress has already exempted alcohol and tobacco from the Controlled Substances Act. Okay, if you think cigarettes are linked to killing people, sure. Then that's two things that kill people and can change people's personalities. Okay, Chantix, you've seen the commercials for them? They warn you that you can go psychotic over nicotine withdrawal. People that quit alcohol after binge drinking a lot have the DTs, the delirium tremens, where they think things are crawling on them and they hallucinate and shit. Congress said those were okay. And they're on the shelves, like I said, of most all stores. There's very few stores, usually those that are run by Christian-based companies, that don't sell alcohol or cigarettes. All you can go in there and get is, gas, soda, chips, whatever. It's wrong. It's been wrong for 80 years to let alcohol be so prevalent that we have mega deaths. Not the band Megadeth, but we have mega deaths that come from alcohol. That's the search I should have had ready for. Let's see. Alcohol-related deaths per year, as well as harming your health overall. It says drinking too much can harm your health. Excessive alcohol use led to approximately 88,000 deaths and 2.5 million years of potential life lost. They tell you every time it's another nail in your coffin. Well, it's another 10 seconds. They say I think it takes 10 seconds off your life. And it says from 2006 to 2010, the 88,000 deaths. And it shortened the lives of those who died by an average of 30 years. Yes. These are going to shorten my life by 30 years. But 88,000 deaths in 4 years. Okay? How many deaths related to marijuana, cannabis? 0. None. Nil. Nix. Nada. Not a one. Nothing. No deaths recorded from the utilization of it. A drug deal gone bad? An illicit drug deal and you get shot up? Yes. Cannabis is dangerous that way. Lifting the federal prohibition on it will not increase crime. It will drop crime. It will stop the hold Big Pharma has over us. That people can medicate. Okay? right now you're able to go, you can get hemp oil through the mail. I've told you all about that. Well, the dispensaries also have high THC content stuff, which cures cancer. A nice balanced 50-50 sativa indica puts both THC and CBD in your body, and that shortens our lives. So the Marijuana Justice Act. So I wanted to look up, well, let's see, here's another one. Dun, 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 dun. Load. So, one advocate has described this as the single most far-reaching marijuana bill that's ever been filed in either chamber of commerce. So, this would effectively remove it from the Controlled Substances Act, which is the basis for the federal criminalization. And it says this is not new. Senator Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont, also put forward a bill that would have descheduled marijuana back in 2015. But Booker's bill goes farther in that it is actively encouraging states to legalize. See, right now the federal government makes a lot of states worry. They're afraid that they'll lose federal funding for things if they legalize marijuana. You will not. And besides that, if you let marijuana go legal if you send this to your state legislatures so they can hear me, if you guys let medical cannabis programs happen, or full-blown recreational, okay? But I believe recreational should have a limit on how much they buy, but they can grow all they want. Medical, you should be able to buy, like I am. I'm able to buy 5 ounces a month if I need it and can afford it. That's a lot. It's like over $1,000 a month. But anyway, this bill leverages federal funds to incentivize legalization in states that have enforced laws against marijuana in a way that disproportionately impacts low-income people and people of color. Yes, bigotry and racism have been at the roots of cannabis. Pundit didn't even know it. But the roots of cannabis legal prohibition has been steeped on lies and bigotry and racism. And like it says, it's disproportionately impacting low-income neighborhoods. Okay? Now, if those neighborhoods aren't throwing people in jail all the time, you have more people in the workforce. If you've got the marijuana going, people can invest in it. People can work in it. Okay? It's jobs. As well as hemp. Because once this is done, there should be no question. If marijuana is legal in that state, then that state should be harvesting hemp. Arizona farmers asked the state government if they could start farming hemp. Went all the way through everything. Everybody approved it until the Doug Ducey, our idiot governor. Mr. Ducey, you screwed the pooch. Hemp is jobs. Hemp is revenue. Like I've said, there's cotton fields all over. I drive past hundreds and hundreds of acres. Just going into town, we'd pass hundreds of acres of cotton fields that, number one, the last time I saw a harvest, the bales sat there on the edge of the field for months. Some of them are still there. There's so much cotton on the market that they can't move it. Hemp will increase jobs and revenues. It will bring industry into the states. Okay? And it will use all this arable land. Arizona's the perfect place. And right now we're dumping a lot of water on cotton along with all the poisons. Hemp needs very little pesticides. I researched into this, and they do need some pesticides. There's a specific mite that attacks the plants. But the pesticides are safe. They're not lick Monsanto's crap in our GMOs. So anyway, get back to this. The low income and people of color, a category that includes virtually every state, through a 2015 report from the Sentencing Project, one estimated that black Americans are 3.7 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession as their white counterparts, but only 1.3 times as likely to use pot. So the measure addresses the two layers of prohibition. Under current federal law, pot remains illegal even in states that have legalized, like right here in Arizona. Like Jeff Sessions wanted federal funds to come to Arizona and fuck with me. Don't do that. And let's see, under current federal law, pot remains illegal, creating big barriers to the states that have legalized, including restrictions on business tax deductions, access to banking. If the federal banking system let marijuana dispensaries put the money in the banks, they will see whatever happens. I'm not a financial wizard. My wife is. I'm not. I'm pot-based, hemp-based. But what I have found is that this is true. We need to fix our multi-trillion-dollar debt. While President Trump talks about building a wall, hemp alone would be the very first best step to building that wall. Build that wall out of hempcrete. Save up on cement, because you don't need cement, the powdery stuff. Okay? Cement, rocks, and soil is what makes concrete. Okay? Concrete and cement are different. Cement is the powdery form that makes rocks and everything bind together as concrete. Hempcrete does not need the raw powder, because it's got what it needs. All you need is water, lime, and hemp. And it makes concrete. 1 acre of hemp can probably build a few miles of road. With millions of acres of arable land that we're not using in this country due to an overproduction of cotton and wheat and corn, okay, we've got all this land sitting vacant. Hemp farming alone would be a boon to any state. So, but whether marijuana is legal, decriminalized, or illegal at the state or local level is decided through state or local law, meaning that a city or state could conceivably keep marijuana illegal even if the federal government removes all of its restrictions. It's not right. There should be a mandate that all states together start marijuana and hemp farming, open dispensaries, help the people heal themselves, get away from big pharma's poison, start making safe plastics, safe paper, a very green product. Hemp and cannabis are both a green product. Okay? And I would like nothing better than to see a whole acre of perfectly farmed and grown, just grape ape or granddaddy purple. Just acres and acres of one strain that you can ship all over the country. And the dispensaries buy it from you, and they sell it as a profit. That's how it's done. However much it costs for you to plant, harvest, run the equipment, buy your equipment, then they're going to need factories to perform these different functions, okay? Or they'll have to retool some factories that are already in use. All they have to do is change a few things for hemp. It's so easy. But anyway, this one, Tom Angel, whatever, head of the pro-legalization marijuana majority, said, "This is the single most far-reaching marijuana bill that's ever been filed in either chamber of Congress." That was at the top. But he went on to say that more than just getting the federal government out of the way so states can legalize without DEA harassment, this new proposal goes even further by actually punishing states that have bad marijuana laws. Because if you're targeting low income and people of color and different nationalities and backgrounds, you're wrong. You're bad. You're a bad people. And the lifting of the prohibition on marijuana and having it every city and state. Well, I can't say every city and state, because when I was in North Carolina, only in the county that Fort Bragg was in, only the Army guys could buy alcohol. It was a dry county. There's a lot of dry counties and cities where they do not allow alcohol. But they knew that the Army guys drink, and so they let us buy alcohol. Little thing. It's not dry anymore, but it was. But anyway, this legislation would be retroactive so that it would automatically expunge federal marijuana use and possession crimes from people's records and let those currently serving time for use of possession petition for resentencing. And it would create a community reinvestment fund that Booker's office said would go towards job training, reentry services, and community centers, among other programs. This is a win-win-win, people. We should not continue this 80 years of bullcrap prohibition, because it does. It unfairly targets people. Okay? You like long hair? People look at you like you're a hippie. Some people would look at me, and I don't have any swastikas on me or nothing, but I look like I could be I'd fit right in with the white supremacist group, which I loathe and abhor. But too many people go on looks, and too many people say, well, it's a low-income neighborhood, everybody there is lowlifes. It's wrong, okay? It's racist, it's bigoted, it's just wrong. So, he formally rolled the bill out on Facebook on Tuesday, and this bill faces no chances of getting through Congress, it says, but it shows the remarkable turnaround that legalization has taken over the past few years. So this is people that don't want the bill to pass. But I have some websites that do want it passed. And let's look at NORML. NORML. National Organization for the Repeal of Marijuana Laws. So, this is from the NORML blog. Let's see. Load up. Marijuana Justice Bill. Okay, it would remove it from the Controlled Substances Act. Incentivize states to mitigate existing and ongoing racial disparities at the state level in marijuana arrests, expunge federal convictions, create a community reinvestment funds. There's a video of him discussing it, blog.normal.com. There's a video of Booker discussing his bill. But it says here, not only is it imperative, that I've been using that word a lot lately, that we end our failed experiment of marijuana prohibition, we must also ensure justice for those who suffered most under these draconian policies. This came from NORML's Executive Director, Eric Altieri. We applaud Senator Booker for introducing this robust legislation that would not only remove marijuana from the CSA, but provide a path forward for the individuals and communities that were most disproportionately targeted by our nation's failed war on marijuana consumers. And it is. It's failed. But right now, half of this country, we've cut the cartel's marijuana business in half. And if we go national, what have we done to the cartels? Boom. We've left them no choice but to get into GHB, date rape drugs, ecstasy, cocaine, and heroin. You can grow poppies most any place. Anyway, 30 states, Washington, D.C., Washington and the U.S. territories of Guam and Puerto Rico have enacted legislation specific to the physician-authorized use of cannabis. While an estimated 63 million Americans that now reside in jurisdictions where anyone over the age of 21 may possess legally, voters overwhelmingly support these policy changes, according to a 2017 Quinnipiac poll. 59% of Americans support full marijuana legalization, and 71% believe that states, not the federal government, should set marijuana policy. And to date, these statewide regulatory programs are operating largely as voters and politicians intended. The enactment of these policies have not negatively impacted workplace safety, crime rates, traffic safety, or youth use patterns. If anything, those numbers drop. And they have stimulated economic development and created hundreds of millions of dollars in new tax revenue. Specifically, a 2017 report estimates that 123,000 Americans are now working full-time in the cannabis industry. Double that to almost 300,000 if we blanket legalize every state. And Guam and Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands if they want to get in there. Like, tax revenues from states like Colorado, Oregon, Washington now exceed initial projections. And further, numerous studies have identified an association between cannabis access and lower rates of opioid use, abuse, hospitalizations, and mortality. Click here to send a message to your senators and urge them to support the Marijuana Justice Act. I'm going to share that right now. I'm going to put you on hold. Okay, I'm back. I sent a letter to my senators. It's if you go to normal, look up, go status of Cory Booker's Marijuana Justice Act. You will find, and you go to normal, National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Now, they have this right here. They talk about the bill and ending the prohibition that, in 1937 to 1997, they were talking about the 60th anniversary. Well, it's been 20 more years. It is now 80 years that we have been under the thumb of this prohibition, but we're coming out of it. We have in the past 5-6 years. I'm so glad Arizona did, and I'm so glad my doctor saw fit to add cannabis to my opiates therapy, because it is the best thing ever that could ever happen to me. I have fibromyalgia, chronic pain syndrome, chronic regional pain simplex, or RSD, reflex sympathetic dystrophy, degenerative disc disease, spinal cord stenosis, chronic spondylosis. My discs are being pushed out against my spinal cord. They're oozing out. And some have gone degenerated to the point where my vertebrae are scraping on each other. That's why I'm very, very, like right now, my neck is in 8-9 pain. And I keep moving it. But that's why I put my salve on just now. It's working, easing it up a little bit. But the discs in my neck, 5 out of 7 of my discs in my neck are bad. And I can't have the operation. It would kill me. It would put me, I'd be bedridden. And, we can't afford a healthcare worker to take care of me and wipe my ass and all that. But I want to go on this part here. It says, marijuana cultivation in the United States can trace its lineage back 400 years. The cultivation of marijuana for fiber continued in America through the turn of the 20th century. It first earned recognition as an intoxicant in the 20s and 30s. Now, during that time, exaggerated accounts of violent crimes allegedly committed by immigrants intoxicated by marijuana became popularized by tabloid newspapers Okay, by tabloid newspapers and the newly formed Federal Bureau of Narcotics. Harry Anslinger, racist asshole. And the Congress approved the Marijuana, with an H, Tax Act of 1937, based almost entirely on this propaganda and misinformation. Yes, lies and bullshit propaganda, which is like Joseph Goebbels for Hitler, the propaganda minister. That was his job, was to hire Leni Riefenstahl to film movies and stuff for Hitler and for the pro-Nazi shit. Okay, that's why I call people anti-weed Nazis, because they believe in the lies and propaganda. And they look at people like me and say, you're a fucking doper, you're a stoner, you're a pothead. Okay, fine. Just don't call me a drug addict, because I'm using a medicine to heal my body and to get through the rest of my life. Because for the rest of my life, my discs are going to keep degenerating, my bone growths are going to keep closing off the neural foramen in my neck and back, my disc going to be pressed on my spinal column, I'm going to be walking with a walking stick or a cane the rest of my freaking life. I'm already just at 56. I'm using the Walmart shopping carts where you sit down and drive. Yes. In fact, me and Debbie both, when her hernia acted up a couple weeks ago, both of her and I had to go out and get things done. And she was feeling bad, but she was able to drive, and we were both in Walmart carts. It's like we were both, and I was trying to race her down wide aisles and all that. But anyway, propaganda and misinformation is, and that's what I've been trying to get across in my posts and my videos, and that all of this is based on bullshit. Marijuana has been used as a medicine for centuries, millennia. At least 3,500 known years of recorded in the pharmacopoeia of Emperor Shen Nung in China. 3,500 years. They found human remains buried with hemp, which caused them to really look into the body and do an archaeological autopsy, and they found that there was cancer. There was cancer. Cancer's been around a long time. It's our body going rogue. There's just a lot of new carcinogens going around that have upped it. But way back when, man still got cancer. And they knew that hemp and cannabis helped. They just didn't know how to make Rick Simpson oil. They didn't know that you could cook it down to, they didn't know physics. They didn't know chemicals, organic chemistry, or anything. But they knew to try to heal with hemp because they knew it helped. And nobody bitched about the psychoactivity. And it's all bullshit. So, part 2 of this here on normal. Marijuana remains the third most popular recreational drug of choice in the United States, despite the 80 years now of prohibition. According to government figures, nearly 70 million Americans have smoked marijuana at some time in their lives. It's almost a third of the country. What is it? We got 300 million people. Let me see. I don't even know when this was, but obviously it's in 1997. They keep saying, 60 years of prohibition and all that. But anyway, it's now 80. But of these 70 million Americans that have smoked at least one time in their lives, 18 million have smoked within the last year, and 10 million are regular smokers. Now, the vast majority of these individuals are otherwise law-abiding citizens who work hard, raise families, and contribute to their communities. They are not part of the crime problem and should not be treated as criminals. The Clinton administration at the time is waging a more intensive war on smokers than any other presidency in Hitler history. And he smoked. Like I said, this is a 20-year-old post. Let me look for something else. Type. Quick little search. So, ending the federal marijuana. This is from congress.gov. Let's see what they got here. Oh no, I'm not going to go through that bill. It's all political bullshit. You have to be a lawyer to understand half of it. Here's one from Mary Jane, MERRYJANE.com. Says, when was this? There's no date on it, but it says, will Congress end federal prohibition in 2017? And it says, U.S. Representative Jared Polis says he will introduce a bill to do just that. I have no idea when he did that. I'm going to put you on hold. Okay, I'm back. Check this out. This is from the Fresh Toast. Fresh. Toast. Fresh. And it is fresh. This 1 minute ago is when this got posted on Google. 1 minute ago. An 11-year-old girl is suing Jeff Sessions over marijuana legalization. See where it says 1 minute ago? Right there. So this is brand new. Oh, come on. Scroll, you mother. There we go. So, Alexis Bortell. AlexisBortell. She's got her name out there, so anyway. She may be only 11 years old, but she's already involved in the ongoing struggle to legalize marijuana nationally. And in one of its most auspicious arenas, the fight to get cannabis out of its Schedule I status. And in order to do this, she is suing Jeff Sessions, Department of Justice, and the Drug Enforcement Agency. She has major reasons for the lawsuit she's joined, and the reasons that are difficult to argue against. Mainly, she has suffered from a recurring seizure disorder since she was a very little girl. She's 11 years old. She's still a very little girl, but for years, she's been suffering from a recurring, non-stop seizure disorder. So, I'm taking it she's in an illegal state. Let's keep going here. Okay, the reasons that are difficult to argue against mainly suffered after trying medication, after medication, and doctor after doctor, her parents finally moved from Texas to Colorado to try medical marijuana almost 3 years ago, when she was 8. Cannabis was the first thing to work, and now Bortell has gone nearly 2.5 years without a single seizure. I'm on your side, Alexis. Another formidable activist has been born in Bortell, and now she's doing everything she can to help other people in her situation. Not to simply be able to utilize cannabis at home, but to be able to live a full life and still medicate. As an example, the whole family can visit her grandparents in Texas, but only for a day trip, no overnights, as Alexis needs her medication, and she misses her grandparents greatly. She told ABC News, "I just want kids like me to be able to do what normal kids are able to do." While this isn't the first lawsuit to challenge cannabis' Schedule I status, meaning that it is a drug that causes harm and has no medicinal value, the suit is being uniquely argued. They're going after the Fifth Amendment's due process clause, arguing under the Commerce Clause, and are also utilizing the 10th Amendment, stating the government power only has a reach as far as the Constitution. All remaining power is reserved for the people and the states. Now, let's see. One link here says, just how harmful is Sessions to cannabis legalization? It's a little inner link to the same website. It's just something else. President Trump spent some time attacking Sessions. This was 2 weeks ago. Trump spent some time attacking Sessions on Twitter in July. And there's plenty of reasons why that was a bad thing. You don't want the leader of the executive branch attacking the chief law enforcement officer in the nation for failing to stand in the way of an investigation into that leader. But if you temporarily ignored the threats to democracy, it was pretty fun watching Sessions get metaphorically slapped around. Mr. Good People Don't Smoke Marijuana was only able to come back with a lame comment that Trump's behavior was kind of hurtful, while still calling him a strong leader. Show some backbone, it says. Despite the attacks, it looks like Sessions is sticking around, which means we have to continue guessing how his Department of Justice is going to treat marijuana. Now, on that front, there is some bad news and some potentially good news. On the negative front, Huffington Post uncovered a letter Sessions sent to Washington Governor Jay Inslee on July 24th, and which was in response to various requests to Sessions from Inslee and others that Sessions reaffirmed the validity of the Cole memo. Sessions does not deviate from the Cole memo. Instead, he cherry-picks data and presents statistics in a way that negatively reflects on Washington's marijuana regulatory system. And the vast majority of his criticisms are unfair or are outright misleading. It says this post isn't a good place to refute each of his arguments, but here are some of the highlights. He states that Washington's medical marijuana system is considered gray due to a lack of regulation, but his information dates back to 2014. Washington folded medical marijuana into its system in 2015. Let me go back because there was another link. It says, related story. Is this how Jeff Sessions finally kills medical marijuana? I want to see this, because I want to look at the negatives as well as the positives, so everybody knows I've done my due diligence. This is still the fresh toast. It says, is this how Sessions finally kills medical marijuana? He wants a federal crackdown on the legal marijuana trade. Legal! I wish he'd get that through his freaking skull. He's an idiot for not even looking at the hypocrisy of the situation. You know, it's the legal marijuana trade under the 10th Amendment of the Constitution. We have been given this right by our states, by the federal government. So it's bass backwards, okay? The federal government has put on the ban, but the federal government has to live up to the Bill of Rights. And the 10th Amendment to the Bill of Rights, it may be the last one, but I'm sure they squeezed it in there in 1791 because they knew it would be important. And back then it was because all the states, everybody had before trains, okay? The Revolutionary War, how did you get anywhere? Walk, horseback, and horseback, walking, that's about it. That's the only way people could travel. So people down in Georgia, Florida, very far away from Philadelphia, which was the seat of power in the 18th century. So they knew back then, and with some foresight, I think they foresaw that there would be times where even when communication becomes quicker and even instantaneous like it is nowadays, you know, I can talk to my friend in Russia, you know, in a heartbeat, right here on Facebook Messenger. But it just, I don't know. Sessions has mostly kept quiet on this. And he's working diligently to persuade the political animals on Capitol Hill to abandon the temporary protections it now provides. This is just wrong. It's wrong for politicians to want to change the Constitution. A document that has been working for us for centuries. Okay, we're over 200 years now. Okay, I was 15 when we hit 100 years. The forefathers, saw far enough ahead that we would need to have state-level laws that were independent of the federal government. And like they said, those powers not designated to the federal government in the Constitution devolves down to the state level. And that's it. And that's what Sessions hates. And I can't get it through my head how he can sit there and use all this flawed data that he knows he's going to get caught on. Everybody can Google. Okay? We've all got the power in the palm of our hands. Okay? I can pull up Sky Map and go like this and see just what stars I'm looking at, and they tell me what. And I've got GPS that can pinpoint me down to within a 5-foot circle. My height. Debbie's height. I'm 5'8", 5'7", I'm starting to shrink. That's what happens with my discs. I'm shrinking. Okay? I'm more closer to 5'7.5" than I was at 5'8.5". So I've lost almost an inch. But it's all because my discs are getting, and it just adds up. Millimeters, millimeters, millimeters equals centimeters. But Sessions and his ignorant statement that good people don't smoke weed, and he's basically another racist asshole, because he also said, I used to think the KKK was okay until I found out they smoked pot. You admired a white supremacist group? Why is this man still in office? Mr. President, if you're watching this, I'll be tagging you too. Why is he still in office? Okay? We don't need politicians with axes to grind. We need doctors and scientists. Where is our Surgeon General? Hold on. Okay, hello, I'm back. So I've been looking around. Our Surgeon General is Jerome Adams. Dr. Jerome Adams. They gave you some fast facts. I'm trying to find what his stance on cannabis. I'm not finding it anywhere. But he's definitely against the opioid epidemic, which I still keep saying the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has said there is no opioid epidemic. And I'm the living proof. I am the guinea pig here that I suffer from such severe chronic pain that without opiates and cannabis, I wouldn't be here today. I would be laying on this couch. I would not be on Facebook. I would not be shooting videos and going viral. I wouldn't. I would be in so much pain. As it is, I'm always shaking. Okay? Even standing up, my legs get immediately shaky. And I still got good muscle here on my thighs. It's just that the pain takes my energy away. And I'm exhausted all the time. And I sleep up to 6 hours during the day and 6 hours at night. That's half the day I sleep. That's why I'm shooting this early. I'm going on an hour. I'm still waiting for an extra morphine to work. I took my next 30 milligram early and it's still not working. I'm still at 7.8 right now. Over the last hour, I've dropped 1 point from an 8.9 to a 7.8. And it hurts. It hurts to keep moving my neck, but it's something that happens all the time. It's like you cannot stop moving your eyes. Your eyes continually move. But you didn't know that. You can't, and it's imperceptible. But it goes with, if you really think about it, I'm looking at you here, but I can see my kitchen. And I can see what's going on. And and I'm aware of everything. It's because your vision, and it makes your eyes jitter to try to stay in focus with everything that you're looking at. So, just the same, here I am. I keep moving my neck. Why? Because I talk like an Italian or something, eh? Hey. Or even the Hispanics, I talk with my hands and my body, and it hurts. I'm causing myself extra pain right now because I keep moving my head, and that's why I have my cannabis salve, my vape. But getting back to the topic at hand, I am an opiate patient as well as a medical cannabis patient. I took OxyContin. It changed my personality. I gained 50 pounds and on psych meds too. Venlafaxine, Seroquel, Klonopin, and OxyContin. Messed me up. 2013 was there was a bad 18 months in around from 2012 to 2014, going through court and everything. But statute of limitations is up. It went up 6 months. And so I can talk about my blackout at the wheel that I had to, I've lost my license. Well, I had to voluntarily turn it in. And I did that before I even started to go to court. In fact, they told me in court, and says, you need to turn in your license. I said, already done. And that's part of what got it thrown out of court. Not to mention the fact that they did not get a warrant to search for my blood, which they could. All they have to do is call on the phone. There's a judge always ready to say, yes, search. You can have a blood test. They didn't get a warrant. Kicked out of court on exigent circumstances. But I'm now on opiates. Yeah, I get lost. I lose my train of thought, especially because I'm not scripted here. I'm doing this, I'm winging it, okay? I'm trying to, find out about who wants to do a petition to send to Cory Booker and to help further push this the legislation through. And, what can we say to the Surgeon General? Because he's got to look at the science behind cannabis, okay? And get doctors and scientists around him, not politicians and not lobbyists, okay? He did do some good things. They were having a very big outbreak in Indiana because he's the Surgeon General for Indiana before he's the Surgeon General for us. Now, in Indiana, he initiated a needle exchange program. Take in your dirty needles, they give you clean ones. Because there was so much sharing of needles going around that they had a huge outbreak of HIV and AIDS. Okay, so he issued this thing of come to us and we'll give you a fresh syringe to stay clean. Because some people don't care. They say HIV, AIDS, I need my heroin. I don't give a shit about the rest. Okay, that's what heroin does. Cannabis doesn't. Cannabis let me do one more thing. Okay, now, collective-evolution.com. If you can read it there, collective-evolution. I'll hold it steady long enough. That hurt. Prescription drugs kill over 100,000 people every year. It says, are you being medicated correctly? Right here. Death by medicine is a 21st century epidemic, and America's war on drugs is clearly directed at the wrong enemy. It's from a Dr. Joseph Mercola. I've briefly focused on mushrooms and cannabis as medicine sources. Now it's only fair to shine the spotlight on the other side of the medicinal spectrum, prescription drugs. One could go through and list the pros and cons of each individual prescription drug, or to save some time, one could first approach scripted drugs as a whole. Now, doing so exposes an alarming truth, ringing louder than the individual benefits of each drug. Prescription drugs are currently responsible for more annual deaths than illicit drugs. And marijuana is not even included in there. However many Americans are smoking marijuana regularly, nobody's going to die. I could die from my opiates. Cannabis attenuates the symptoms of addiction, cleans my liver, cleans my blood, cleans my pancreas, my gallbladder, my stomach, everything. The only thing it can't do is reverse my bone growths, and it can't make my discs go back to normal. Those are dead. That's it. They're degenerating. They'll never stop. But this does slow it down. It's on my list of diseases. If you go back through, I have a couple videos where I just sat there and listed out the diseases. In fact, I did it in 2 videos. I did half and half. I did 2 videos just listing out diseases. So anyway, prescription drugs are currently responsible for more deaths annually than illicit drugs. It's a big problem. This is the CDC director, Tom Frieden. It's a big problem, and it's getting worse. Out of the 783,936 annual deaths from conventional medicine mistakes, approximately 106,000 of those are the result of prescription drug use. According to the Journal of the American Medical Association, 290 people in the U.S. are killed by scripted drugs every day. Jeff Sessions, put that in your pipe and smoke it. If you won't smoke marijuana, you're not addressing the problem. You're creating more problems by perpetuating that we need big pharma and their poisons. Okay? That everything started off good back in the day. Okay? Aspirin and marijuana were on the pharmacopoeia. 1937 saw this paradigm shift because of Harry Anslinger, and in 80 years it's been prohibited, and it's never killed anybody from use. And it says, even if prescription drugs do not literally kill a patient, they slowly kill their mind and body. I've told you, these commercials for these new drugs that they tell you to ask your doctor for have side effects of tuberculosis, possible cancers. You have plaque psoriasis, but you might get skin cancer from the cure. I think I'd rather have the psoriasis. It's stupid. And they take things like cyclosporine, ophthalmology, drops in the eyes. That's been going around for decades. We've been using cyclosporine for eye problems for decades. Now they repackaged it and put it in a pretty package, and they called it Restasis. It's cyclosporine hydrochloride, just what we've always used, but it's in a new package and a higher price. Anyway, it slowly kills the mind and body. And this alters their ability to innately feel deeply and compassionately, and the patient can be stripped piece by piece of his inner awareness and inner consciousness and the very essence of their being. Death by RX can be sentenced in the form of many, oftentimes subtle masks. Since it happens slowly, the clouding of the patient's once clear brain goes unnoticed as the fog sets in so densely that he is no longer able to decipher if this new state of consciousness is normal or if it is better or less than it should be, rather than it just is. It's like I was on Oxycontin, Klonopin, I was drinking. This stuff made me want to drink too. So I was drinking on top of all those. Oxy, venlafaxine, Klonopin, Seroquel. Alcohol. Made an ass of myself for my parents' 50th anniversary. Sorry to my family. But I was always the black sheep in my family because I was the pot smoker. Okay? My sister's very anti-pot. She's an anti-weed Nazi. She believes the bullshit. But I have always found marijuana as the best for everything. Okay? It made me want to get up and go to work every day. Now I wish I could, but my body won't let me. But cannabis does allow me to function somewhat normally. I'm able to do my Tai Chi in the mornings now. And I take my cane and I spin it around. I use it like a bow staff because I always have my cane. Well, if I'm not carrying my gun in my back of my belt, I've got my cane, which has got almost 5 foot of reach. So, I can boom and keep people at a distance. And I use it like a bow staff. I can spin it around, Just like my nunchucks. That's how I exercise. I can just stand there with my nunchucks or my bow staff, like the bow staff I take outside. But that's my exercise. That's all I can do. And it elevates my heart rate, and it's the only exercise I get. Because I get winded just walking around the house. Opiates help me get off of the couch. Cannabis is helping me stay off the couch longer. And with death by prescription, at 780, what did that say? From conventional medicine mistakes, 106,000 are the result of prescription drug use. But a total medicinal mistakes and drugs, 783,000 people per year. And I've already told you that chemo on pharma death clock is proven that almost 18 million people in 17 years. That's over 1 million, that's like 1.1 million people per year dead at the hands of the cancer industry. Now at a 70% attrition rate, those are the dead ones. The million a year is the 70% dead through chemotherapy. 70% of that 18 million potentially cures 70% cancers. So take 70% of 18 million. That's how many millions of people could have been saved over every year. Okay? 70%, 700,000 people per year. Right there's the number. At 1 million cancer deaths per year, 70% of that could be saved by marijuana. That's 700,000 lives saved. Now, 783,000 annual deaths from conventional medicine, where we can actually save 700,000 people a year just from cancer. Okay? Tell me, Mr. Sessions and Mr. Trump, tell me what's wrong. Jerome Adams, Surgeon General, I can start talking to him now. Okay? I'll tag him too sometime in some story. Because cannabis legalization needs to happen. I'm already over an hour here. It takes a while for these things to upload. But I'll leave it at there. That's a hard number, folks. 106,000 people die as the result of prescription drug use annually. Now, if you go to Pharma Death Clock and look at all the deaths, it's just outrageous. If you add chemotherapy to that, that's almost 1.8 million people a year dead. Because that's not conventional medicine mistakes. That's conventional medicine. It's just outrageous. So, here's to Senator Booker. Hope the bill goes through Congress. I hope the Surgeon General gets it in his head and has enough people tell him, enough doctors, scientists, researchers, and everything, puts it in his brain that cannabis is medicinally valuable, more so than any of these drugs they're pushing on TV. The side effects alone of these drugs are used for a different disease. Look up Humira, adalimumab. It was originally for one disease, but the side effects did other stuff that made them find that they could use it for this disease too. And it always has the same side effects and potentials for death. Okay? These prescription drugs they're telling us to ask our frickin' doctors for are poisons that they know kills people. And what do? We let them get away with it. We can't. Senator Booker, standing up for you, man. We can't let it keep happening. It's got to end. Cannabis prohibition itself has just got to stop. Hemp farming will turn this country green. Okay, because if you look at it nature-wise, we're in the red. Okay, if it wasn't for Teddy Roosevelt setting up the national park system and saving millions and millions and millions of acres of natural beauty to leave it untouched by man as much as possible. Okay, thank you, Teddy Roosevelt, for making the national park systems. Now, cannabis will save, because hemp will replace so many natural products that we are using up. Oil. We can be oil independent, coal independent. No more coal, no more harsh pollution. Okay? More solar, more hemp, and we will turn this country back into the green amber waves of grain that we originally wrote that song about. Okay? America before the raping of mankind. Okay? Back in the good old days. I wish I could live in those days where I could smoke pot. Because it was a legal crop. People were told to grow hemp back in the day. And cannabis was part of our pharmacopoeia for over 100 years. And it has not killed anybody. Now, they used to sell the marijuana in mixtures with laudanum, which is liquid heroin. That kills people. Cannabis alone, cannabinoids alone, with their terpenes, does not kill anybody. And it is not responsible for elevation in lung disease. It is not responsible for anything but a drop in numbers as far as everything. Lung issues, bronchitis, asthma, and I'm curing myself from emphysema. 2 out of the 3 are already cured. And the emphysema is going to be cured too. Because the more I smoke, the lighter my lungs feel. So I told the doc, I bet the emphysema's been there, and my cannabis use has been making it go away. So I told him 1 year, we'll get a new CT scan and compare the two. And I'll bet the emphysema will be on its way out. I'm sure of it. I control my pain, my depression, my anxiety, everything. And it's just, there's no altered state of consciousness. You just find things funny, or you just want to vegetate and relax and get couch lock and just stare at the TV. It's still healing your body. It's catching the fly ball with your baseball glove at the baseball game. As we put the cannabinoids in our body, they attach to the receptors everywhere. Brain, everywhere else in the body, and your immune system, the CB2 receptors. They grab the cannabinoids as they're coming along. It's like CBC, CBD, CBD, I need this. That's all it does. And it takes what it needs. And along the line, somewhere else in your body says CBD, CBC, I want this. And somebody else is going to want the CBD. And your body is happy, hungry, healthy. You got the munchies, dry mouth, dry eyes, red eyes. You don't get nausea and vomiting. It stops nausea and vomiting. That's why they synthesized it in a pill and called it Marinol and gave it to chemotherapy patients. Because it stops nausea and vomiting. And just the fact that it has not killed anybody in 10,000 years of known hemp and over almost 8,000 years of known cannabis use no deaths from the utilization of it. And yes, they're making dabs and they're making stronger and stronger potent concentrates that you can get high off of. And they really get you in the couch lock. But they don't kill you. Colorado alone saw a drop in everything. Violent crime, domestic violence, teen use, opiates and other medication deaths. All of those numbers dropped. Yes, I'll poke you later. All those numbers dropped. That's it. Cannabis, the Cannabaceae family, needs to be freed from the prison of ignorance. The DEA and the Justice Department need to get real and get the word that they're doing bad things. Jeff Sessions, good people do smoke marijuana. Bad people perpetuate the prohibition of marijuana. That's my answer to you, Sessions. And for our Surgeon General, do your frickin' job. Cannabis legalization, because you can't say shit against cannabis. The entire medical community will stand against you. That's it. So, everybody, peace out. I need topic ideas, because or else I just sit here and just wander. But I try to put some clipboard websites that I can always have something for reference to get me talking about something, and then I go off on a tangent. So I'm sorry if I do that. I wander. That's just me. I'm a flibbity gibbet. So anyway, though, I have to get back to my Sim City while this uploads. I'm almost worth $6 million. My city now, level 37. Anybody out there playing Sims? The Sims free play. I need a neighbor that has a movie camera. I have it. That's one of my quests. I have to go to a neighbor's town or one of my friends with their town and use a movie camera in that town. And I have to use theirs. I can't bring my own. So if anybody out there has got a movie camera on Sims Free Play, tell me where it is. I want to get it done. But in the meantime, check out Normal, NORML. Check out Collective Evolution. Look up Cory Booker and the Marijuana Justice Act. And just think of all the good that will come out of this, as long as our Surgeon General and Jeff Sessions and the President do not stand in the way of this legalization. Because it needs to happen. Okay? It's an imperative. Almost 800,000 deaths annually from medical mistakes and prescription drugs together. Add to that 1 million people, or 1.1 million people annually from chemotherapy alone. It does not make any freaking sense, yet it's still being perpetuated as fact. It's all BS, myths, lies, smoke and mirrors, propaganda. Pull back the curtain and look at the wizard. He is not all great, all knowing, and all powerful. That's it. Peace out. Free marijuana and cannabis from the prison of ignorance. Thank you. Have a good one.